What's going on, folks? Renegade here. Right here, some of you might recognize my 1981 Yamaha Heritage XS400. Some minor changes have happened since my last video. Allow me to show you. By minor, I mean fairly significant. So, I painted the gas tank, cleaned up the engine, painted the combustion chamber towers because I like the black look, although right now it's just dirty because dust happens in here. It is a working garage. Painted the gas tank. This side I put the badge on, the modern style Yamaha tuning fork Trident, and put the silver stripe down it. Now, my goal with this was to keep it very classic looking. Classic, classy, that's the goal. So I went with just a simple satin black, silver stripe down the side with this Yamaha logo right here. This is very reminiscent of the Yamaha racing squares that you saw in a lot of race bikes of the 80s and 90s. Now obviously I need to put the tuning fork logo over here. I didn't just because, well, I had to reposition the bike. The other thing I did was I got these side covers, painted them the same matte black, cleaned up the badges, and put them on. This one's still drying. This one is dried, and should look really cool on the bike. I love this matte, or the satin finish rather. It looks so classy, so clean, and on the bike, it's gonna look amazing. But today, we're doing something else. Now, obviously, I didn't want to show and film me painting it because, let's face it, the project of painting really only is exciting for the end result. The actual project of doing the bodywork and the painting is actually kind of boring. You guys have seen me paint before if you're subscribed to my channel. If you're not, why not? If you liked my content, you should hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get uploaded when I make a new video and put it up. Now, my last video, you guys saw me put on the clip-on handlebars with the new levers and perches and the new mirrors and the new grips, and really changed the front end look of the bike. You also noticed as I took things apart, that I took these off. And these are the ears, I call them ears because that's what they remind me of, that normally wrap around your front shock forks, and they actually hold your headlight bucket on. Now, why would I take them off? Well, for those of you who've been around for a while, you may have seen on my Suzuki Intruder build, or even on the Maxim build, which you're currently looking at the ass end of right there. I will get back to that. I'll make a video about that soon. Yeah, if you guys watch those, what you're about to see is going to be very familiar. And for that, I apologize, but stick around because we're doing something new with this bike. Today's project in question, a headlight. It's a good headlight. It takes, oddly enough, I was actually surprised because my Maxim, which is from 82, uses a sealed beam. This headlight on the 81, although it's very familiar in its looks, actually uses a composite light bulb. It has a glass face. In fact, I have it somewhere. It uses a glass face, and it actually has a hole in the back where the headlight goes, and then there's a clip that holds it in. It's kind of modern-ish. I mean, all of my Volvos and, you know, most of your cars out there, the modern cars, use composite headlights. Composite meaning that there's two pieces. Your housing and then your actual bulb. But one, when the previous old owner sold me the bike, it didn't have the clip to hold the headlight in. Two, I want something a little different, a little more useful for my purposes. That's where repeating myself comes into play. For those of you who watched my Intruder build and have seen my Maxim build so far, you've seen me use an aftermarket headlight bucket that has integrated turn signals. Well, today is no different. I have here the same headlight bucket that I've used in the past. And you'll see around the edges here are the turn signal LEDs. I really like this headlight. I really like the fact that it has the turn signals integrated into it. It just helps clean up the look of the bike. Before anybody gets out there and starts typing in the comments about how unsafe it is because I'm moving the turn signals closer to the center and it's less visibility, because yes, I've gotten that, in which case somebody actually told me that what I did was stupid. Hold your britches. We got something coming later. Yeah, I really like this headlight bucket, and what's surprising is that it's actually very cheap. I got this off of Amazon for about $35. I'll have the link down in the description. In fact, throughout this build, any of the things I purchase for it, I will have the links in the descriptions. I don't think I said that in my last video, but it still holds true. There will also be a link to the whole build series playlist that I'm creating for this bike. Of course, the first thing we have to do, we have to get this headlight bucket off, the old one. And one of the drawbacks of Yamaha motorcycles, and I mean the Suzuki didn't have as much of an issue, but definitely Yamaha's, they put all the wiring through the headlight bucket. So I have to undo all these connectors to pull the headlight bucket off. It's a real pain, to be honest with you here. Luckily, all the connectors are different in here. So after you're done disconnecting everything, when you go to reconnect it all, it's actually really easy. The problem is some of these connectors have not been off the bike, disconnected in probably forever. So they're a little difficult to remove. Remember, when you're doing this, never pull by the wires. It's a good way to destroy your actual connectors, the blades inside. If you can get any sort of leverage to wiggle the actual plastic of the connectors, that's what you want. If you're using pliers for this, be very careful because you do not want to accidentally break the plastic. Of course, the real fun is because this is a metal headlight bucket, it has sharp edges. So if you're doing this, be very careful because chances are good you're gonna scratch up your hands a bit. I know, because I am. Now I can feed all my wiring out. And if you've never done this before, I'll tell you right now, the best way to do this is one wire connector at a time, because the more you push through one at a time, the more you can get out later in one shot. Ta-da! Like I said, it's really not a bad headlight, and for the time, it looked really nice. But like I said, we're gonna go with something a little new. Now, this, much like a lot of the older style headlights, is a two-piece. Has these screws on here that you just undo, and it will separate. Now, I already did this because I painted the headlight the same matte black, or satin black rather, same satin black as I did the tank and the side covers. You know, color uniformity is kind of an important thing in design. The great thing about this is it has this nice big hole in the bottom, which is where I will feed my wires all through. Like I said, they are all different. Either they're different shapes or they're different colors. Like I've got a 3-wire green, a 3-wire black, and a 3-wire white. You just match up the colors. Luckily, it's quite easy in that manner. There you go. All of them reconnected. Now, obviously, the single wire, I mean, this is obviously a headlight wire. When you get to the single wires, like these guys here, I don't know if you guys can see them, but they're just one single wire. That's actually for the for the turn signals. So we're going to be utilizing those. Now, this headlight does come with mounting brackets that go around your fork tubes. And what's great about these is because they are set up like this, they're not one big solid sleeve. If ever you have to work on anything, it's actually much easier to take them off than the sleeves are, because that's just, frankly, a royal pain in the butt. So, the big thing now is for me to decide where on the front end do I want the headlight bucket. And I think we're going to go fairly low because I really want to flatten out that line. I talked about that in my last video. These two pieces are really easy. You have this little half shell and the whole arm, and there's different holes, different slots where you slide this tongue into, and you just put it through, and then you put the bolt and nut through, and that's all you need. And yes, they do give you all the hardware. Now we're just going to loosely put this on, and we'll tighten it all up later because I still want to be able to have some motion for adjustments. Also, if you are making unless you're making a video about this, the easiest way is to put the arms on, the mounting arms on first before putting the headlight, you know, with all the wires in it, because then it's just kind of in the way. If you want a good tip, I know it's kind of difficult to see from this angle just because I didn't move the camera. Always remember your hardware direction. It's a much cleaner look if you're looking at the cap end of a bolt than if you're looking at the nut end. It keeps it clean. Remember that. Said, I'm going to keep it loose right now just so I can adjust it later. And now if you look at it from the side, it's a nice clean look, especially with it being lower, puts it a nice lower line. Don't worry, we're going to deal with this later. Stay tuned, my friends. That is a whole another project. Now, the fun of wiring comes into play. I hate wiring. It's a real pain. But first, I think something else has to be done. These, unnecessary. These are the ends that they put on the handlebars that I bought. It's just to keep a nice clean look. Now obviously you can go and you can get bar ends that look a little nicer. Perhaps you want weighted bar ends, which should, in a lot of cases, create a dampening effect through your handlebars to keep from a whole lot of vibration. I have a set of those on my XJ600. They're very nice. Hell, even these bar end mirrors came with bar ends that technically I could put in here, and then the bar ends themselves would sit on, the mirrors themselves would sit on the bar ends. But we're not going to do that. In fact, these are trash. Once again, we're using these bar end turn signal lights. But we're going to do something a little different with them again. So, we're going to get ready to get these in and get them all wired up and yeah, do some fanciness. So let's get to it. Alright, so on the end of these bars, there's a little cap. Looks like this. You just pry it out of the end. This way you can feed your wires all the way up through your bars. These are real snug, so you need to really give it a little oomph to get it in and twist it like a bolt to tighten it. It just uses tension to keep it in. Now I think that looks pretty darn sleek. Now what I did, I took this cap, right? I drilled a hole through it, just big enough for these wires that I'm going to feed through the hole so I can put the cap back in the bar, and now the bar is nice and sealed up. Now we just gotta deal with the wiring aspect. Alright, now obviously it's been a couple days because as I was filming I realized I didn't have the right connectors for all this mess. So I had to run out of the store, go get some, had to put it off. But as you can see, I have it all wired up. Now, this looks like a mess, and that's because frankly it is a mess. You'll notice that I put a Y connector in so that everything is connected to the original harness without messing everything up. So right here, these are the wires for the turn signals. This red wire is the actual signal bulb, and that is connected via a Y, which is in here, hard to show you guys because of how messy it all is, to the original wiring harness. So if I ever wanted to go back to the original stock setup, all I have to do is disconnect here and remove all this. The same is true for the headlight, which is over here somewhere. This all is split up and connected so that the side markers will light up white when the headlight is illuminated, which I will show you guys in a moment here. I really hate wiring. The other fun part of this is because these are LEDs and because I have a standard flasher relay, which is actually tied into a self-canceling unit, which means when you turn on the turn signal and you make the turn, there's a mercury switch up inside your cluster here. Couldn't think of the word for a second. Up inside your cluster, which measures tilt and tilt back and will actually tell the circuit to turn off the turn signals. It's pretty cool, and because I don't want to mess with that too much, rather than switching to an electronic flasher unit, which you can do, I believe you end up losing your self-canceling unit, which is not ideal. I had to run load equalizers, which right here I have mounted to the side of the bike. Now I've got a set here and a set on the other side. Reason for that is you need one load equalizer per LED light or light set. In this case, this here bar end turn signal counts as one LED. The ring inside here counts as one LED. So I need a load equalizer on each. This is going to help because of the lack of draw that LEDs have compared to your old school filament bulbs. It's not enough power to actually make the old school mechanical flashers work. So you need to put a load equalizer on to basically balance out that load so that your flashers will actually work. The other catch with it is that they can and will get very hot when in lots of use. That's why it has to be put on something metal like the frame. So I couldn't just tuck it up inside the headlight. That's plastic, it'll melt. Not good. So all this wiring done. Now, when the headlight is on, both bar ends will glow white. And when I turn on the flashers, whichever turn signal I'm using will stop being white, will flash amber, and the ring inside the headlight will flash amber as well. Pretty cool. Now it's just a matter of buttoning this all up, which is always a pain because you gotta get all the wires back in and have room to get your headlight in. So, yay. But let's go ahead and do that real fast. Now there's a tongue up here that catches a lip right here. So you gotta go up and in, catch that. Make sure everything is inside before you do it. Like I said, there's 2 screws going on either side. One in. Just like that. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. What do you think? Let's get the tank back on so it actually looks like a proper motorcycle again. And let's take a look at it. some things are still a mess because, after all, I'm still working on it. So I haven't tidied everything up completely. I know very soon I'm going to have to get back into this headlight bucket. So the ears and everything aren't fully tight yet. I will tighten them all up when I go to finish it. But overall, I'd say that looks pretty darn slick. Wouldn't you say? Definitely changes the look of the bike dramatically. Just cleans it all up. Again, that all-important body line I keep talking about. It's a lot flatter. It's a lot smoother. I definitely call this one a winner. Well, you guys, let me know down in the comments. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know down in the comment section. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for me for today. Said I got more coming real soon. Because, you know, if we did the front of the bike, we're going to have to do the back of the bike soon. That's coming up soon. So stay tuned. Y'all keep rocking and rolling. I'm going to keep taking care of business. The next one.